Gamification of an e-class course has numerous setup steps before the gamification elements we want to look at become visible. For this reason, it makes sense to take a look at how a gamified course appears before putting in the effort to set it up yourself. A gamified version of the Moodle 101 course has already been created using the techniques we'll be looking at in the upcoming videos. We'll use the demo student view to explore what our gamified course looks like. One thing to note is that most of the course looks very similar to a normal e-class setup. All of the navigation tools and modules appear the same. The first major difference are the little boxes that appear next to many of the course content items. The boxes indicate that activity completion tracking has been turned on for that item. This is one of the major components required for gamification, so we'll be spending quite a bit of time on that in the upcoming videos. These completion trackers look a lot like a checklist and can either be a dashed box or a solid box. A solid box indicates an item whose completion is student-controlled. A dashed box indicates a conditionally controlled item. Secondly, you'll note that the student's view here has a block on the right-hand side of the screen with an activity completion counter in it. 0 out of 2 activities complete in this case. This block tracks completion of how many of the required assignments have been completed by any student in your course. Third, and this is somewhat less obvious in the student view, there are actually 48 content items available here. That being said, we can only see 3 in our demo student. So if we quickly switch back to the instructor view, there are multiple elements inside many different categories that are all grayed out. These aren't time or manually restricted, they're controlled by the student's progress through the course. We'll examine how to use restricted access and how to set up a course like this as a controlling feature for items and course progression. Back in the demo student view, let's see what happens when we start checking off course items. So we'll go through and check off Moodle 101 guidelines and announcements. I don't actually have to do anything to complete these items, I just need to click on them. You'll notice that I can't just click on the survey here. Often in Moodle, as with this survey item, Reasons for Taking this Moodle Course, viewing is enough to cause the item to be checked off. Because there is no numerical output from a survey, this is basically the only way to control its completion. For forums, quizzes, and many of the other types of items you might want to add to your e-class course, there is a huge number of additional completion options, and we'll take a look at those in detail later. Clicking on the survey, as I've already completed it on this demo student, will just bring up a graph of the results, but it doesn't matter. As we navigate back to the main page, our goal is just to see what completing that survey actually does. When we come back to the home screen, the survey item is now checked off, and there is an additional item present, a reward for completion of the aforementioned survey. This unlockable element could be a link to a video, an extra set of practice questions, or any other element that you can otherwise add to your e-class course. This is a great example of how to effectively use restriction access to gamify a course. If we scroll down, 2 new modules have also appeared, allowing the student to continue their progression in our class. We'll be referring back to the student view throughout our gamification videos to evaluate how this student view changes with some of the additions we'll be implementing. Next up, how to change your course settings to let you gamify in e-class.